You may all have seen that I popped into your rooms. I know that that time went really, really quickly. But it was great to hear that there was a great conversation going on in every single one of those rooms. So what we're now going to do is each of the moderators, I'm going to introduce the moderator from each section, and then you have 4 minutes to report back or play out the role that you discussed within your breakout room. I'm really excited to hear what you've got to say. So please please join me in welcoming our first impressions moderator, distinguished Toastmaster Devlal Sahadevan. Over to you, Devlal.
Thank you, DTM Nikki. So our findings were the following, that in a club, if there's a change in the agenda, which happens quite often in most clubs, update the agenda, let the TME or the president read out the agenda in the beginning itself so that the audience is informed about the changes. About a guest who joins the meeting a little late, we had some great ideas. One was all the members of the club are informed about such situations. So just in case somebody joins your club meeting a bit late, whoever is sitting next to the guest will have to inform, maybe will raise a hand and inform the TME or the president while the president's address is going on and say, we have a guest, let's introduce that person and acknowledge the presence of the guest. Then about the seniors who sometimes snub the juniors, to create more awareness about why a senior Toastmaster's role is very important in the club, what kind of influence do they hold in the club, and let them take up the responsibilities and handle it a lot more seriously. About the other question was about, there was another suggestion about how changes in agenda could be handled. That is, up to one of our members in the discussion said, always have a plan B. You may have an additional member who's willing to take up a certain role. So just in case a member doesn't turn up, so we are forced to change the plan, then you have a member who's ready as a fallback. So you have a plan B all the time. And the other situation was about the sergeant at arms who also acts as a person, a agreed person. In another club, they do this. So in case the president or the Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster of the day becomes a little too busy, and if at all the presence of a guest goes unnoticed, you have a sergeant at arms who will take the initiative and introduce that person to the club, start up a conversation and make sure that the person feels at home. That's it from our side. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Team 1. Well done. So the one thing that I picked up here is that it's really important for the club officers to work as a team, right? To coordinate amongst each other, which oftentimes doesn't always happen. So to make sure that you're giving everybody the best first impression, make sure that the team all work together. You know, I've often heard people say, who is responsible for welcoming guests to the club? And in my opinion, we are all responsible. Of course, the Vice President of Membership is overall responsible, and it would be great to be introduced to the President. But as a team, you know, if you're in a physical environment and sometimes like 2 or 3 people arrive at the same time, then as a team, we would want to support the Vice President of Membership. So I certainly think that teamwork really does help a lot, particularly in when people first walk into your club. Right, the second moment of truth is around membership orientation. So we've now, all of our guests have been converted to members, and now it's the time to ensure that they are orientated well. Please help me welcome our second moderator, distinguished Toastmaster, Shiraman Vadyar. Shiraman, over to you.
Thank you very much, DTM Quinn. In room number 2, group 2, the scenario presented was on membership orientation. A member joined the club 2 months back, was not allotted a mentor. He gave 2 pathway speeches, never logged into the Toastmasters International website. He didn't know what it was. Another member told him about member orientation. He decides to quit Toastmasters or become a member of another club. Wrote to the president asking for a refund. There was some valuable exchange of information. What transpired and what could have been done better? What was done wrong? To present this, I would like to welcome the leader of the group, Toastmaster Pooja Kumar.
Thank you so much, DTM Sriraman. So as part of this discussion with the scenario presented to us, some of the suggestions that came through was that the XCOM needs to make sure that they bond with the new member that comes in, and maybe have that one-on-one discussion right when they join in, so that they understand where they are standing. That was one thing. Another thing that was discussed, another suggestion that came forward was that XCOM speaks within themselves, the XCOM of the club, and they delegate a mentor to the new member with the help of a senior Toastmasters. As we all know, senior Toastmasters play a very key role in the growth of the club, and they are the right person, and they would be very much involved to help in suggesting the right process to feel the new member comfortable. Another suggestion that came across, the third one, was to suggest a support of the XCOM. As we all know, a club officer's role is not all the responsibilities fall on the club officer, and that there are opportunities for the club officer to also delegate the work, so that a new club officer is evolved over the days, and this might help them understand the club importance more, and also ensure that the new member feels more than welcome. And the XCOM will also address the impression that was made with the new member. Maybe they would apologize and ensure that they would make an impact to create a new change for the Toastmaster and ensure that we keep the Toastmaster spirit alive. That's all the discussions that we've had. Over to you, DTM Quinn.
Thank you.
Thank you. So quite interestingly here, we heard something about senior members, right? And sometimes, I think in one of the scenarios, we actually saw that perhaps some senior members weren't necessarily embracing everything. And you might hear about that later. And sometimes senior members, people with lots of experience, don't necessarily respect the more junior members or welcome the more junior members. So sometimes having senior members in a club can actually not be a strength. But if it's not, one needs to turn that around so that you give those senior members more opportunities, more kudos, more of a sense of ownership around, because senior members are critical in our organization. The organization is growing rapidly, especially across Region 11, which is Middle East and Africa. Our new members are significant, and it's important that we rely and lean in to those members that have got some experience. So remember that senior members aren't always a strength, but they should be a strength. Right, we are now moving on to the third moment of truth, and it's my favorite: fellowship, variety, and communication. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Godson Varghese to run us through the moment of truth, fellowship, variety, and communication. And I hope, Godson, that you're also going to bring somebody from the team to the stage as well. Over to you, Godson.
Thank you, DTM NICKYQUINN, for introducing me. And we had an amazing discussion in our group for that 15 minutes. And I had 15 members where we focused on discussing about the fellowship, variety, and communication in the moments of truth. We had a situation which we explained inside the room. The situation is like this. Many members do not regularly attend the club. They feel the club has no fun, friendly and supportive environment. Club sessions are very boring and not at all enjoyable. Educational sessions are opportunities for educators to give unprepared PPT presentations. The themes of the sessions are outdated and not at all thought-provoking. There is no club events, there is no joint sessions conducted with other clubs, and the club doesn't mentor their members to prepare for area division contests. This was a situation which our 15 members have pondered upon their thought process. To summarize it, I would like to invite the leader from our team, DTM Mohammed Salar, to summarize the points which we discussed. Master, can you ping DTM Mohammed Salar? Yes, thank you. Over to you, DTM Mohammed Salar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Godson, and our regional advisor. Our group's discussion was very vibrant. First and foremost, when we took upon the point of camaraderie and fellowship, one of our members came out with a beautiful idea that they are doing in their club is to have an online polling for what you like the most during the meeting. And each member was provided with 3 voting ballots, wherein they could vote who was the best performer or what they liked the most in this particular session. And people got to vote and they used to select and they used to applaud. So thereby building camaraderie amongst each other, wherein individual members are selecting their own best person. We had a beautiful thought process which came from one of our members who said, the Sergeant at Arms will be coming out with a new theme of a different country or a different journey what one can take. So the kickoff was always different. So all the 56 sessions during the year was always different. So that was creating a lot of excitement. A beautiful and a very attractive flyer was being shot out well in advance to create the anxiety and the excitement for the people to come in. The agenda circulars were being sent out very early, and one of the clubs have added on having something called as a book review and even a newsreader who speaks for a couple of minutes. Change of venue was another suggestion which came up, and they used to keep changing the venues, which created excitement for people to come in and meet at different places. And for corporate clubs, the screens which the organizations have were used for doing the promotions of the event coming up, creating excitement amongst the staff to go ahead. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Ma'am, you're muted.
Thank you. This is something that I hear a lot, is that the themes, we need variety, we need different themes in meetings. You know, for instance, the month of March is often International Women's Month. In my country, we have the month of August where we celebrate women, and every single club that you go to maybe have a theme around women in that month, right? Or it may be around a particular festival, and every single club you go to, it's always the same. So it really is important to think of new themes. And I really like that idea of possibly different countries, right? I think Toastmasters is in 140, well, more than 140 countries around the world. So imagine if you could have not every single meeting, but I don't know, 6 times a year or 12 times a year, you actually have a country theme. That would be really interesting, I think. There's so many other things that one can do with meeting themes to make them a little bit different, a little bit more exciting. So I think it is important. The other thing that I have also heard is that there's not enough social events, right? And whilst Toastmaster meetings shouldn't be social events, I really look forward to meetings that are actually a celebration. So my home club, once a year, they have an awards evening, and it's not really a typical Toastmasters meeting. There's fellowship, there's talking and getting to know the other members. better than you might normally know them. We have some dinner or some snacks, and it's a little bit more of a relaxed environment. And I think that's really important as well. I also know that some clubs might go and perhaps play cricket, action cricket, or something like that. It's not a Toastmasters meeting. It's not a Toastmasters event. It's not compulsory. It's just a great way of getting to know each other a little bit better. Right, we're now moving on to our next moment of truth. Moment of truth number 4, which is program planning and meeting organization. And I know we all want to hear more here because we've already heard things around changes in the agenda, meetings not starting on time. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, please help me welcome Toastmaster Saravanan Rajalu to run his session around Moments of Truth number 4. Over to you, Saravanan.
Thank you, DTM Nikki. Good evening, everyone. I had the honor of moderating the topic program planning and meeting organization. I shared a fictitious scenario. The scenario goes like this. One of the members, who is a Toastmaster for the day, was terribly upset with the club because the VPE and the team did not help him find the role players. The VPPR did not publicize the meeting. The meeting was organized in a haphazard manner, despite having had a perfect theme. During the meeting, the speakers did not stick to the speech objectives. On the other hand, the evaluations too were pathetic. Then the table topic master, he took the meeting for granted. The meeting already started 15 minutes late, and it took an eternity to conclude. Finally, the Toastmaster of the day calls up the president and tells him that he is not interested in continuing with the club. This was the fictitious scenario, and I requested the knowledgeable members what we could do to address this situation or to avoid the situation altogether. The members came up with very interesting ideas. It was agreed that Toastmaster Ramu will present all those points that we have discussed. I request Toastmaster Ramu to present the findings.
Thank you, Mr. Saravanan and DTM Saravanan and DTM Quinn. Yes, we did have a spirited discussion in our room. The topic was program planning and meeting organization. How do you improve the overall quality of meetings? So we decided, we basically concluded on 3 things that we need to do to improve the quality of meetings. One is mentoring, second is planning, and third is role orientation. Now we know in our clubs, we have members who do not take initiative, or you take too much initiative, too much freedom to do whatever they want. So we are operating between the polar opposite. So the best thing that we came up on is to have more mentoring, more hand-holding. As experienced leaders and Toastmasters members, we need to make sure we show our new members or members that needs more support, to take a little bit more initiative, and people who are taking more initiative to moderate and follow the Toastmasters program. So spending more time with our members away from the meeting and offline is going to help us with the mentoring process. The second is planning. The VPE, we talked about the role of VPE, how the VPE should lead the whole agenda setting just 2 months in advance. Just make sure you have everything in place. You know who the PMOD will be, who the table topic speaker will be. You have the agenda all set in place. So for the VPE, this is more for a VPE role, planning everything before the meeting. And the third was role orientation. We talked about better speaker series, leadership excellence series, having those features in those meetings, in our regular meetings by experienced Toastmasters will help set the meeting in order, make sure the meetings are run effectively. Also having evaluation trainings. We do have issues with evaluations. So we either invite some experienced Toastmaster from another club or from the district to give an evaluation, how to give an effective evaluation training. These are within the club. Now, we do have some serious problems in the club, and this is where we do a moments of truth in our club, either with the executive team, just trying to make sure that we figure out all these issues. We have a short-term plan on how to fix those issues. Or we can invite the area director, or division director, or a mentor, or an ambassador from another club to come in, take a look, and give us some good suggestions on how, or coach our club on how we can have a good quality meeting. These are the things that we discussed in our group, and very deep conversations that we had. Back to you, Madam Chair.
I keep on forgetting to unmute myself. I should probably not unmute myself at all. So I heard some really fantastic things there. Congratulations. A couple of things. I always say to folks when I train the district leaders, when I talk to club officers, we have an incredible amount of resources at Toastmasters. Pathways is an incredible resource. The Toastmasters website is an incredible resource. All of the manuals that are available to us are incredible resources. But I heard two mentioned in that session that I really want to point out and stress upon. We talked about our district leaders, our area directors, our division directors, mentors, members of other clubs, right? People are the biggest resource that we have in Toastmasters, as far as I'm concerned. Our network is our net worth in Toastmasters. So if you're connected with more and more people, and you can, even if they're not necessarily coming to your club to visit, to help with that program and meeting organization, if you just connecting with them to learn about what they do and how they do things differently, I think that is an incredible resource that you can lean into. And then the second one that somebody mentioned, was the Better Speaker series. And sadly, I think that to a degree, the Better Speaker series kind of became a little bit extinct when we launched the Pathways program. But again, it is another treasure. It's an absolute gem in the treasure chest that Toastmasters is. The Better Speaker series, as well as the Successful Club series, both of those are still available, and you can still run the programs from those two series that will help you improve your speakers, and it will also help you with your clubs. So well done, and thank you so much for mentioning that. And that also links back to senior leaders and senior members, right? Because all the newer members who've joined over the last 4 or 5 years, they will possibly not have that knowledge of those older programs. So lean into people. That's where we get a lot of gems, of pearls of wisdom from. Right, moving on to our next moment of truth. Membership strength. And don't we all know how important membership strength is? Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Omar Shanti. Over to you, Omar. Are we seeing Omar?
Omar, could you please turn on your video? I can find him.
Toastmaster Omar, I've pinned you, but your video is off, and so is your audio.
May I know who is the speaker from that room?
Yeah.
Can the speaker please raise their hand so I can easily spotlight them?
Room number 5, group number 5, MOT 5. Who is the speaker?
Anybody in room number 5?
Yes.
Faiz Ibrahim raised the hand. There
Yes.
we go. Thank you, Faiz.
Hi, good evening.
Yes.
And Vihan?
Yeah, okay, so I was part of it. I think we fell short in the discussion as the breakout room closed. But I'll just give a small gist of what was discussed.
It was about retaining the members and how we treat the members, especially the guests.
Toastmaster Bhang, do you want somebody to read out the scenario? If you want, we can read out the scenario.
Sure, sure.
Toastmaster Razia, can you do it, please? Scenario.
Just a moment.
I can do it.
Yes, yes, please, ma'am.
Thank you.
I think I can do it. Hold on. Okay. Membership of the club is on a free fall. No one is worried about it. The core team feels that there is no point in publicizing or promoting the club. Some of the senior members are hesitant in experimenting. See, those senior members. They say that variety in the meeting will take away the seriousness of learning. The club has not conducted an open house or a joint club meeting in the recent past. One of the members is very upset with this, and he tells the president so. The president requests the vice president of membership to get involved and plan something new. The VPM builds a team and comes up with a few groundbreaking plans to revive the club. He approaches the unhappy members and is having a one-to-one talk with them. Okay, Via, over to you.
Okay, so this is a situation which I'm listening to it for the first time. So basically, I'm from a corporate club, and we were mainly talking about how to make the member feel when he is coming for the first time, and how he's made to feel, you know, at even when the meetings are over. Basically, involving him once he's a member, he becomes a member. Involving him in many other, appreciating him if he's got some degree during his course of time as a member, or if he's getting married, or if he's having a child. Basically, it's all about engaging the member, involving him, the new member, in each and every aspect of his even personal life, celebrating it in the club. It may take a few minutes of the meeting, but it should be involved, including the senior members personally involving and wishing and greeting him. So these were some of the points what we had discussed in the meeting, actually. So it's very important because most of the members, of course, corporate might lose because of a lot of other things like salary, dissatisfaction of the company, or leaving the company. But yes, so these were some of the things we need to involve the member and celebrate his personal achievements in the club so that he remains engaged with the particular club. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vian. Thank you for stepping up to the plate. Much appreciated. So corporate clubs have their own challenges around membership strength, right? So, you know, irrespective of the economic situation, irrespective of it being overseas workers or whatever, people have a limited period of time at in employment. So they could potentially get offered a new position at a different campus within that particular corporate. They could get offered a new position and resign and go to another company where there isn't a Toastmasters club. They could get promoted and be too busy, or they could just leave and go and live in a different country, just like in a community club. So I think really, if you are in a corporate club with membership strength, I think it's really important that you're constantly actually building that membership. Some of the corporate clubs that I know of, oftentimes it's the interns or people that are on the grad programs that join, or some of the junior staff within the organization, ensure that when those people are no longer interns and grads, that they either continue their journey, or that new interns or grads or newer employees, more junior employees actually join as well. So again, it is very much about teamwork, right? It's everybody working together to make sure that that does happen. Right, we are now moving to our final and certainly by no means least, remember what I said about my Distinguished Toastmaster Award, achievement recognition. Fellow Toastmasters, help me welcome Toastmaster Clarence Patrick. Over to you, Clarence.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. And thank you, DTM Nikki. Achievement recognition is we had a scenario on which we had discussed in our breakout room. I'll just read out the scenario given to us. The club motivates members to stay active by monitoring members' progress towards their goals, submitting completed award applications immediately, and consistently recognizing member achievement. Based on this scenario, we had 6 different points. So we had scored them, and collectively we gathered all the best practices that has been used in other clubs. And I have Toastmaster Praveen Panikar as the leader of my breakout room, and he will share the best practices, what we had heard in the room. Over to you, Toastmaster Praveen Panikar.
Thank you, Toastmaster Clarence and DTM Nikki. Today, as Toastmaster Clarence mentioned, the achievement recognition, the first point, award applications immediately submitted to World Headquarters. Everyone said they submit the application immediately after they receive the submission from the members, but some clubs, they feel that the members are delaying submitting their application to the website, so it may get delayed, not always immediately after the recognition. And the second point, the progress chart displayed and maintained. Most of the clubs are not following this practice. But same time, a few clubs mentioned they use speedometer or templates to use the member achievements to be displayed in that club. But what we understood is that members are not very clear. The ESCOM is not very clear how to go about this progress chart displaying in every meeting about the member achievements. And on the third point, member achievements recognized with ceremony. Of course, every club recognize the achievements, not with a ceremony always, but by giving a standing ovation if they achieve a path or something. Otherwise, definitely with a certificate or a ribbon, whatever is possible, but they do recognize the achievements. And for the fourth point, club, district, and international leaders recognize. Of course, they do that all the time. And some clubs actually do a best practice by sharing the recognitions, what they received so far by the members with the district leaders, those who come to the club, because they feel that that will be a recognition for the members also, because they also will get a kind of applause from the district leaders. And also the members will understand who are actually in the district and who are the district leaders. And the club and member achievement publicized, of course, they do that. The VPPR is, most of the clubs are very active and they use social media to publicize their achievement. Most of the time they do that. And DCP used for planning and recognition, again, most of the clubs, they of course use the DCP as the tool for planning and recognition, but some clubs feel they limit this planning within the ESCOM. They will not all the time keep informed or keep the members informed of the plans, how to go about it. Overall, it was a very fruitful discussion. As I mentioned, all these points we were discussed in a very focused manner. I think this is what we have discussed in our room, MOT6 achievement recognition. Back to DTM Nikki.
Thank you so much. And it really is, honestly, this recognition is so important. I believe it. And I also want to tell you a secret. Like in my introduction, it was said that I have used the skills I gained at Toastmasters to improve my professional life. And I have found that at work, my team are motivated significantly more than other team members because I'm always recognizing them. We have a program at work. I work at a big multinational company. We have a program. It's just an email. It's called the BTY, a big thank you. And if you just actually send somebody a big thank you on a postcard, it really does motivate them. In addition to that, we have Star of the Month awards and a Star of the Quarter and Innovator and things. And it really motivates people at work. But what gets recognized gets repeated. So it's the same at Toastmasters. If you recognize people, if you thank them for the work that they do, if you recognize them for the awards that they have got, they will continue to serve and they will continue to be part of the club. So it really is quite important. Of course, this whole program, the Moments of Truth, it's fantastic, right? And I'm sure you can all see the value of actually doing the Moments of Truth questionnaire at your club. And I would encourage you all to do it with all of your members at one of your sessions, perhaps even when your area director visits the club. But please do it. But don't just do it and answer the questionnaire and say, oh, well, this is where we're strong, this is where we have challenges, these are the opportunities, and so on. Do a SCOT analysis. Has anybody heard of a SCOT analysis? It is strengths, challenges, opportunities, and threats. And so interesting, because the name has changed a little bit, but I like the name change. And one of the best negotiating skills course I ever did was called the SCOT Negotiating Skills course. It was developed in Scotland. So when you do the SCOT analysis, look for 4 strengths in your club. Look for 4 weaknesses of the club. Look for 4 opportunities, challenges, not weaknesses. Look for 4 opportunities and look for 4 threats. And then use that analysis to actually develop action plans. And I've been sitting here listening to everything that all of you have said, and I've come up with a lot more, I have to tell you, than 4 in terms of strengths. I've come up with a lot more in 4 in terms of opportunities, but I am a little bit limited in terms of the challenges and the threats. But I've done a SCOT analysis, imagining that all of District 105 is actually a club, right? And so I would like you to do exactly the same for your club, but just as some examples. So in terms of strengths, I heard and saw that club officers seem to be very willing to adapt their behavior and come up with a plan, that they seem to be willing to work through things. I also saw that there is an ability of the leaders to actually listen. So when people are saying that they're not happy with something, the leaders are actually listening and taking notice, which definitely is a strength as well. There's definitely a great deal of camaraderie and respect amongst the members of this group. And that shows to me that these are strengths that possibly many of the clubs within District 105 have. But then also the diversity here is really incredible. I see some younger members in terms of not only age, but in terms of membership, how long they've been members, as well as older members with lots of experience. I see some past district leaders on this call that I've worked with previously that were district directors when I was a district director, that were PQDs when I was a PQD. So there's a great diversity of people here. I see people from both locals and I see people from outside of your region, which I think is really fantastic. I see ladies and I see gentlemen. So there's a great deal of diversity, which is absolutely fantastic. In terms of challenges, some of the things that I heard, and always, right, for every single challenge, there is an opportunity just waiting to be uncovered. Remember that. I did hear a couple of times, and I read into it as well, some of the meeting locations were a challenge. I heard about a club that was outside of Abu Dhabi. And the only thing I know about Abu Dhabi was that movie about those 4 ladies who went to Abu Dhabi and had a shopping spree. I've never been to Abu Dhabi, but I can imagine that being outside of the city is not going to be a great location. And sometimes it's just the location that needs to change. It can turn around a club's success. Sometimes it's even the name of the club. I was a member of a club that was called Rosebank, which is an area like a suburb or a mini city, Rosebank Breakfast Club. And there was a Rosebank Evening Club as well. Our club was struggling. People were getting confused with which club was which. We changed our club's name to Carpe Diem, which means seize the day in Latin. And boy, oh boy, did it change the future of the club. So just a name change, sometimes even a slight change in time. I know that this is like now 9:30 for you guys. It's only 7:30 for me. A meeting starting at 8 o'clock in Johannesburg wouldn't run. It wouldn't happen. Meetings start earlier, but I know that in the Middle East, meetings do start later. But just the time can change things as well. I heard some concerns about a challenge around meetings not being fun and boring. Meetings can be lots of fun and they don't have to be boring. I heard challenges about membership numbers are down, starting meetings on time, changing the agenda, all of those things. Those are challenges that we're facing. But then I looked at opportunities and I was listening intently. There's definitely an opportunity to go to Plan B. We talked about those better speaker series and the successful club series. We talked about some of the senior members. There's a huge opportunity to get senior members, if they aren't, to engage with younger members, to share their skills and their knowledge. There's an opportunity for people to be more committed. There's an opportunity for people to see the value of the program, to see that the more you put in, the more you get out. Any of the leaders here will acknowledge that they're not just going to get anything out of the meeting if they just show up at the meeting. Get commitment, display the value of the program to newer members, and you will get that commitment. I may not have heard it today, but developing a mentorship program, perhaps that's something that you can give to some of the senior, more experienced leaders to do. New themes. I heard about new themes being created. I heard about flyers being created. Social events. There's an opportunity to have social events. There's an opportunity to start on time, to stay on time, and to finish on time. You know what the most valuable asset in the world is? If I could bottle it and sell it, I would be a millionaire. Time. Everybody around the world, there's not enough time to do everything we want to do. Our 24 hours a day just doesn't go very far. So when I go to a meeting, I want to make sure that we start on time. Huge kudos to this group, that we stay on time and that we finish on time as well. There's an opportunity to do more membership building. I see I've already got lots more than 4 opportunities. In terms of threats, we didn't talk about them, but I think I would like to mention a couple of threats that as individual clubs you would need to think about. New members, they may not continue their journey. If they don't get what they think they're going to get, if they don't get the member orientation, if they don't get the mentorship, if they don't get the opportunity to speak, if they aren't guided properly, new members may not continue their journey. And I did hear about member retention being a challenge. Threats of things like other organizations. There are other organizations that offer speaking or communication skills. In the online environment, there's loads of courses now. What's our opportunity? What's our USP? Well, here we get the opportunity to practice what we learn as well. So you can do plenty of online courses to learn presentation skills, communication skills, but do you get the opportunity to practice those skills? No. So there's the threat of people going to other organizations. There's the threat if people come to your organization, to your club, and they're not happy with it, there's a threat that maybe they might send a communication to world headquarters. There's a threat that an individual club actually is doing greater Toastmasters brand a disservice. And of course, there's other educational institutes institutions as well. So you see, there are lots of different Scots. I'm sure that your individual club is going to have a very different Scott analysis. You can only tell that once you run a Moments of Truth program and extract all this information from the members of the club. Once you've put your Scott analysis together and you understand what 4 strengths are, 4 challenges, 4 opportunities are, and 4 threats or more, you can then use that to develop an action plan, right? Because again, we want this to turn things around. We want it to help us to build successful club. I'm going to challenge everybody in District 105. Let's try and make every single club a distinguished club this year. You've got 10 months left to do that. You need to ensure that you have the membership strength and that you are achieving your goals. But I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to ask PQD Saju when I meet him in person later on in the year or at the beginning of next year, I'm going to ask him how it's going with distinguished clubs. It really is within our grasp, but we have to put those action plans together. So to create that action plan, you look at all of those strengths, strengths, challenges, opportunities, and threats, and then you put action plans together. What do we actually need to do? So if membership is a problem, if that is one of your weaknesses, then we need to put together a membership building program. How are we going to do that? Who's going to do that? Consider all of these points from what you've learned today in your discussion groups. Do a Scott analysis for your entire club and then list down the action plan. What's going to be done, who's going to do it, when it's going to be done by, and how it's going to be done. Make sure that you've got that plan written down and that all of the club officers are committed to it. If you need to get other people from the club on board, get them on board. Make sure that responsibilities are assigned to specific club officers or members. Because if you create a great plan, if you don't get anybody to commit to actually doing it, what's going to happen? Unfortunately, nothing. Establish a program to actually monitor the progress. Meet at your monthly excos. Make sure that you're reviewing those action plans. Make sure that you're achieving what you set out to achieve. And if you're not, readjust to make sure that you can actually achieve what you want to achieve. I would encourage you to do all of that. And I would also encourage you to bounce this action plan off your area director. It's your area director's responsibility to help and support you, just like it is mine to help and support the district leaders in District 105. So please get all of this information together, prepare a report, and let your area director have it. They will be so happy to see it, and they will also be happy to help you and to hold you accountable to make sure that your club is distinguished and gives our members, those folks at the top of the pyramid, an absolutely fantastic experience. I hope this session has been valuable to you. I feel like I've done a lot of talking for the last 10 minutes. I'm now going to hand back to Razia for the next session of the program. Over to you, Razia.
Wow. Thank you so much, DTM Nikki, for this insightful SCOT analysis and most importantly, the doable plan of action. Well, honestly, you made us pause, reflect, assess, and learn so much within this power-packed workshop. And I'm sure this energetic audience online has felt the same. So, my dear folks, please let us get together to give a big round of applause to our veteran trainer, NICKYQUINN. Moving ahead, I would request my zealous Zoom master, Toastmaster Anand, to please open the feedback poll for our members to give their feedback and suggestions for further improvements. and share praises also if they wish to.
Hi everyone, the poll has been launched. I believe you should be seeing it on the screens
Yes,
now.
we can see the poll. And as the members are doing, the attendees are doing the poll, I also appreciate, we will start with the interactive question and answer round. You are encouraged to put up your question by showing a raised hand emoji or putting up your question in the chat box as you wish.
Don't believe there's no questions. That's impossible.
Yes, we have somebody with a raised hand emoji, and that is our DTM Sri Raman Vadyar. Sri Raman Vadyar, the stage is yours. Please ask your question.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Razia. And thank you, DTM Quinn, for this wonderful, insightful presentation. There still remains a doubt as to why this is not being done on a regular basis. Something that benefits the club members or the executive members are very hesitant to conduct. What would you advise to those clubs or the executive members of those clubs who are still hesitant to implement this Moments of Truth program, in spite of knowing that this is something that can only propel you to greater heights?
So thank you so much, Shiraman, for that question. And I believe that when club officers realize that this is something that is done around the world by airlines. In fact, it was developed, Moments of Truth as a framework was developed by Scandinavian Airlines. They're no longer in business, but a lot of airlines have over the last 40 years gone out of business. But they developed this program, and it's used very strongly in the automotive industry. If ever you take your vehicle, if you have a motor vehicle, if you take it in for a service, or even if you buy a new one, oftentimes you will get a survey to ask about your experience, right? And that is them measuring moments of truth. And I think when one explains to club officers and club members that Moments of Truth is a framework that is used globally to measure customer, or in our case, member satisfaction or experience, I think that then we have a better chance of moving that obstacle of resistance out of the way. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Nikki, for answering this question. I have another question from Toastmaster David Gadala. He says, what are the statements in each of Moment of Truth called?
So you mean the statements within first impressions, or do you mean first impressions? So first impressions is a moment of truth, okay? And essentially what a moment of truth means, it means that that is something that can make or break the relationship that you have with, in this case, the member. So that is something that if it's not met or if it's not satisfactory, that they could potentially move away, okay? The actual statements within first impressions and member orientation, they are just that, statements. And I don't know if I mentioned this. I did, I think, in the beginning. It is important that you adapt those for your club. You don't have to stick to this, like by the book. If there is something that doesn't apply in your club, for instance, how the room is set up isn't appropriate for online-only meetings, you might want to change that. You can do that. Don't ask your members things that don't actually apply. I hope that answers your question, David.
Thank you so much, Titya Nikki. I have one question, since I'm seeing the chat box is still empty and I'm waiting for more questions. What do we do in case a few members, they are not attending the meetings regularly, but still they went out their heart in moments of truth with some sort of challenges. So how do we tackle those comments?
Yeah. So was that vent out their heart? Yeah. Okay. So, and this is my view about Toastmasters, right? We give people a voice, right? So we should be prepared to accept their opinion. If they are really venting, I would suggest that the president or the vice president of membership or whoever has a conversation with that member, and to really understand what the challenge is, because it could be more than, if they're just venting, it could be something deeper and something different that we don't really understand. So I would have a conversation with those folks that are venting their hearts out in the Moments of Truth questionnaire.
Yes, thank you so much. Seems so sensible. All right, DTM Nikki, we have another question from DTM Mohammed Salar. He asks, should area director initiate the Moments of Truth in clubs which are new?
So there is no harm in an area director communicating the Moments of Truth framework and plan to a new club, because it is something that they will know then, because remember what Moments of Truth is. It's a quality standards measure, right? So it's important for new clubs to know how they're actually going to be measured. And it's not measured, for those of you who are area directors or have been area directors, you will remember that the area director report is structured around the Moments of Truth, right? So, but it's not only internally, it's members and potential members are going to measure a club based on these quality standards or Moments of Truth. So yes, I think that a new club should be aware of it. They don't necessarily have to do it immediately, but they certainly might want to do it after. It depends. It depends on the level of engagement.
Thank you so much. I hope DTM Mohammed, this answers your question. Another question comes from Toastmaster Kamini. She says, how can the area director help or support a club if the Moments of Truth is not being conducted by a club?
Again, a similar answer to previously. Explain the program to them, explain why it's important, and look, an area director can't force a club to do it. The club should do it. But I would encourage an area director to do an educational around Moments of Truth in that particular club. So, and not to actually do the questionnaire, but to do an educational so that they can understand why it's so important. I think that's what I would suggest in that case.
Great. Thank you so much. Another question, interesting question from Toastmaster DTM Shekha. She says the entertaining part of offering snacks and whole discussion around the table seems to help. What do you think about this?
I think that's a great idea. And yes, as long as you're spending the club's money wisely and it's not caviar that you're offering as snacks.
So DTM Shekha, I'm sure DTM Nikki is endorsing your idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Another question comes from Toastmaster Praveen Panikar. He asks, how many times Moments of Truth to be conducted in the same year?
I believe that one is sufficient, but if you as a club feel that it needs to be done more regularly, you can go right ahead and do that.
Okay, thank you so much, Toastmaster Praveen. I hope this answers your question. And that is it. Any more questions? I really look forward. We have some more time. So raised hands, emojis, you may unmute yourself and please put up your question. Yes, one more question comes up. Yes.
Am I allowed to ask a question or is someone in the queue?
Yeah, you may please go ahead with your question. We have some more time and then we'll be asking.
Yeah, it's a follow-up to the question by Toastmaster Praveen Panikar and where he's coming from. We always believed when we worked as area and division team that one moments of truth to understand where we are as a club. And next one to measure where we have progressed from the first one is ideal, but not to be forced, was our understanding. What do you have to say on that, DTM, NICKYQUINN?
So it depends on that action plan, right?
Yeah.
So if that action plan said that we want things to improve within 3 months, then perhaps it is prudent to redo moments of truth within 3 months. I believe that oftentimes some things may take a little longer than 3 months. But of course, if you wanted to do it on a more regular basis, you can do that. It is a great resource to utilize as often as you want to.
Thank you.
Especially if you have lots of new members.
Okay, we will take one more last question by Toastmaster Saravanan.
Thank you, MC. This is for DTM Nikki. As you know, I was moderating Group 4 for the program planning and the meeting organization. When I explained the scenario, I called it as a fictitious scenario. I wish that it didn't happen in any of the club. But one of the members, he said that it happened in his club. So if it did happen, what is the starting point to fix it?
I need to refresh my memory. What was the scenario in scenario 4?
The scenario was the TMOD wants to quit the club because the VP did not help and the VPPR did not publish. The meeting was organized haphazard manner, despite having had a perfect team.
Yep. So when I was looking at the scenarios, I was hopeful that they were all fictitious, but also acknowledged that probably they were not. I think that some conflict management skills are skills that we develop in Toastmasters, and I would hope that the club could work it out and apologize and put a plan in place to actually rectify this going forward, so that there was help and support and that they did work together as a team. Because again, teamwork does make the dream work. So I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, DTM Nikki. And I hope this answers your question, Toastmaster Saravanan. We have a couple of more questions and we will be answering them individually. All right. So let's all good things come to an end. And once more, I would request all of you, the poll is still open. Please, we respect and we request your precious feedback. With this fun-filled, engaging session, I'm sure by now all of you are almost experts in conducting an effective, smart, and a result-oriented Moments of Truth session for your respective club. I see that all of you are ready to redefine success and drive your club to be the best. And this really goes for a big round of applause to each one of you for sticking to us for so long. I, Razia Khatoon, your program facilitator for the Moments of Truth workshop tonight, would like to leave you all with a profound thought once again. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Now for the closing and felicitation, I would like to call upon this virtual stage DivisionB Director, DTM Nidhi Bhandari on the stage. DTM Nidhi, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Toastmaster Razia, for that wonderful conducting of the event. Every single challenge is an opportunity waiting to uncover. Distinguished Toastmasters and esteemed guests, today we have witnessed how Moments of Truth intertwine with a journey of growth and self-discovery. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you who has contributed to the success of this transformative day. Thank you to our exceptional trainer, DTM NICKYQUINN, for your insights and guidance, which has illuminated our path towards excellence. Thank you for imparting your wisdom and empowering us to embrace the significance of moments of truth. We now know network is our network. Thank you, DTM NICKYQUINN. We would like to present to you a certificate of appreciation for your amazing contribution. Thank you, Zoom Master. Yeah, thank you so much, DTM NICKYQUINN. Can we please give her a huge round of applause?
Thank you.
Thank you. A special thanks to our ebullient, energetic facilitator, Toastmaster Razia Khatoon, for creating a fun-filled environment. Toastmaster Razia, all I can say is you truly rocked. We would like to present to you a certificate of appreciation for your excellent contribution today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Toastmaster Razia. I extend my sincere thanks to our esteemed moderators, DTM Devlal Sahadevan, DTM Sriraman Vadyar, Toastmaster Godson Varghese, Toastmaster Saravanan Rajalo, Toastmaster Omar Al-Shanti, and Toastmaster Clarence Patrick for moderating in the breakout rooms, enriching our discussions and fostering that deeper connection and understanding. Thank you to all of you. Behind every seamless event are some unsung heroes. And today, our heroes were Toastmaster Sana, our timer, and Toastmaster Anand, who you saw around as the seamless Zoom master. So thank you, Toastmaster Anand, and Toastmaster DTM Rizvi as well for supporting as the Zoom master. So thank you for your commitment. You remind us that every role, regardless of the size, plays a pivotal role in Toastmasters' journey. Can we give them a huge round of applause, please? A heartfelt appreciation to each one of you who has joined us here today, our wonderful audience. Your active participation has infused life into this training session, and your thirst for knowledge is truly inspiring. Lastly, a heartfelt acknowledgement to our district program quality team and DivisionB Council. Your dedication in shaping events like this reflect our commitment to nurturing growth and excellence within our Toastmasters family. As we conclude, let's remember that our journey is not confined to these moments, but extend beyond. Let's carry the spirit of moments of truth as we continue to strive for personal and collective growth. Thank you, and I wish you all the very best.